Don't forget to check out the weekend roundup. We got a great show for you. We got Doyle in for AGT, who's done a Gary Lineker, holding all the cherries this week. We've got Matisse. Chelsea are back. They're back.
No.
All right. And Fuad is in the building. Big win for Tottenham. But was it Conte or the board that did it? We'll find out. Check out the show, the weekend roundup on DR Sports.
Come check out DR Sports Talking Tactics right now with me and Matisse. We go through Chelsea's resurgence, 3 wins in a row under Graham Potter. Arsenal, are they the most tactically impressive team in the league right now? And Man United had to play with 10 men for a lot of the game because of Casemiro's red card. What is the best way to play with 10 men? We'll explore all that and even touch on Bournemouth and Liverpool with Philip Billings' form. Maybe seeing Bournemouth stay up. Come join us on DR Sports Talking Tactics.
Yo people, welcome back to DR Sports. Your host to do the most and never coast in the building. Matisse, solo act today. No Abby, nobody with me, but it's all good in the hood. I hope you guys are well. Good morning to Arsenal fans in particular. It was a rough night last night. I was there, I saw it with my own 4 eyes, and I'm here to console you. I'm here to, give you any advice, any therapy you may need this morning. So it's gonna be a good preview. I'm very much looking forward to it. Big up the comments. Do you know what I'm saying? I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys have got your breakfast. Let's get into it. Premier League game day preview. Obviously, there's some FA Cup games as well. N.Forest versus Newcastle is tonight, 8 o'clock kickoff. Newcastle back to winning ways in their last fixture as well. Very, very big win. A lot of Newcastle fans were really feeling that win against Wolves, mainly because they've been in a bit of a poor form, let's say, struggling for goals. They've been falling away in the top 4 race. Obviously, the Carabao Cup defeat as well to Manchester United. So it's been a tough time for Newcastle since the turn of the year. But that win against Wolves was huge. And it just gave them a little pick-me-up, puts them back in contention, puts them back in the feel of things, and puts them into 5th at the moment in the table. But they've got a couple of games in hand on Tottenham. And again, they'd want a snowball effect. They'd want to continue to keep winning. Big opportunity to do that against N.Forest, who are at the moment in 14th in the table. And again, in that relegation battle, I've said it before many a time on this show, that relegation battle is between 6-7 teams. It's really, really tight. 1 minute you think you're rising into the upper echelons of the table. Next thing you know, you're down in scrapping, fighting, bloody noses. It's not easy. There's a lot of teams in there. Let's see what's being said in the chat as well. I think I just saw super chats just coming. Big up everybody in the comments. I hope you're well. This super chat from Todd is saying, I always find that Arsenal not winning European trophies a blessing in disguise, or up the Chelsea. I mean, I've heard a lot of Arsenal fans have been saying that in terms of a blessing in disguise. Lives in particular on Twitter, big up your damn selves. I've been seeing a lot of people trying to console themselves. Listen, we will not know the outcome until the end of the season on how it will unfold for them. But yeah, we'll get onto that later on. Obviously, Alexander Isak with the goal as well against Wolves. Really, really big fee. I think they paid 70 million for his services, but he's been injured obviously a lot of the time. But still a big goal to get. And like I said, Nottingham.Forest, they've been slowly improving as the season's gone on after all of those signings, but they're still not out of the danger zone yet. And it'll be interesting to see if they can climb away from that. There's a big cluster of teams down there. I'd say from Crystal Palace down is the teams you'd be looking at. Obviously, Crystal Palace just sacked their manager, Patrick Vieira. Will be talking about that as well. But Crystal Palace, Wolves, Nottingham.Forest, Everton, Leicester, West Ham, Bournemouth, Leeds, Southampton, everybody there. Basically, the bottom 8 are all still in a relegation fight, in my opinion. And then the teams above are on the cusp of 40 points, let's say. So they're close. They're close to survival. Also, as well, we have Brentford versus Leicester. Brentford ticking along very, very nicely. So nicely that, Thomas Frank has been linked with so many top jobs in recent weeks. He was linked with my club a little bit. He's been linked with Tottenham a little bit. Brentford high flying in 8th, just off the cusp again of European football, and playing really well this season. Ivan Toney's back in the England squad. We saw that was announced by Gareth Southgate there yesterday. There's a lot of interesting selections in that England squad. I'm not going to lie to you that I'm not too sure about, but it wasn't a bad attack. I think we can all agree that attack that he's put out is pretty damn impressive. Ivan Toney's in there, Rashford's in there, Saka's in there, Kane's in there, Grealish is in there. I couldn't really hope for much more in terms of that attack. I think Ivan Toney from a performance standpoint definitely deserves it, of course. He's been brilliant this season. It is interesting to see that he wasn't selected for the World Cup. Of course, the whole betting situation, that's still ongoing, that investigation. But he's selected for this squad. It's kind of strange, I'm not going to lie, but hey, this is football. This is how it goes. Everybody in the comments saying you must. Brentford haven't won against Leicester since 1953? Is that what you're saying? That's a crazy statistic. Fair play to Coach's Corner. If that's correct, I haven't fact-checked it, but let me know in the comments, double up, triple up if you think if that's correct. I'm not even sure. That's a crazy statistic. Thank you. So yeah, big game for both teams. I think Brentford, listen, they're performing above expectations anyway. I would say, if they finish in this position, even outside of the European places, it's definitely going to be a prideful season. But they'll want to be knocking on the door for Conference League. Any one of Brighton, Brentford, or Fulham will be looking for that European place, that Conference League place. I was hoping that even maybe one of them might be able to sneak a Europa League place, but it's looking like it might be difficult when you actually look at the teams ahead of them, the Newcastles, the Liverpools, Tottenhams. It's not going to be easy to get ahead of those teams. So they might actually be fighting for that last place. So yeah, going to be difficult. And of course, the opposition, Leicester. Leicester are in a relegation battle. I did not think I'd be saying that, considering the upturn of form for Brendan Rodgers. He was moving in the right direction after a really, really poor start to the season. It was looking like he was going to be sacked, struggling a lot. Madison obviously been very hit and miss in terms of injuries this season. And they've, I feel like I say this all the time, but the teams down at the bottom, when you go through some of the squads, when you go through some of the starting 11s, they're good teams. They're very good teams. They've got very good players. I said last weekend, I think Leicester's defence is very error-prone. There's a lot of mistakes in there. I don't rate a lot of those individuals in that defence, but I think the attack with Iheanacho, with Daka, with Maddison, with Harvey Barnes, there's some good players. Tete, there's some really good players going forward, even Dewsbury Hall. But defensively, Leicester, they concede a lot of goals. They're very, very error-prone. We've seen that with Faze. We've seen that with Amate, even at the World Cup for Ghana. And even Ricardo Pereira in the last game last week against Chelsea should have been sent off. They did get a sending off, but they should have had probably 2 red cards, in my opinion. Not being biased, I'm just saying, I think it was 2 red cards. If you saw the tackles Ricardo Pereira was making, it was wild. So yeah, Leicester need to kind of get back up on their feet. Like I said, they sit in 16th, 24 points. They're level on points with Bournemouth and West Ham. So there's nothing to split these teams in terms of this relegation battle. And yeah, they desperately need the points, but it's not going to be easy. They're travelling to a Brentford team that, like I said, have been really good this season. They've taken points off Manchester City. They've taken points off of loads of top teams, Chelsea. So yeah, it's going to be tough. Moving on to Southampton, Tottenham. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments as well. Brighton. Let's see what you guys... Actually, let me ask you. I want your predictions for this Conference League place, right? In 7th, 8th and 9th, it's Brentford, it's Brighton and it's Fulham. We just spoke a bit about Brentford finding themselves in that position. Who do you think will get that last Conference League place? Let me know in the comments. Just put the team that you wanna rep for that last Conference League place. You can throw in my team if you want, but between Brentford, Fulham and Brighton, who do you think is going to get that last Conference League place? Or do you think one of them are going to get a Europa League place? Maybe we can even run a poll on it maybe as well. That would be great. So, yeah, let me know in the comments. A lot of people are saying loads of different answers. I think all 3 of these teams you could make a case for. They've all had really, really good seasons. De Zerbi, obviously, at Brighton, playing some really good football. Fulham, with Mitrovic, maybe if the goals aren't coming from him, there's concerns. Maybe same with Brentford, to be honest, with Ivan Toney as well. So let me know what you think in the comments. There's a couple of teams there with games in hands and whatnot, so it's not even a level playing field. I think Brighton have got the least amount of games played on 25, so it's an interesting situation. So moving on, we have Southampton versus Tottenham as well. Southampton at the bottom of the league. Still at the bottom of the league, despite some upturn of form, potentially maybe some big wins here and there. Obviously against Chelsea, I think they've got 2 wins out of their last 5. Let me just take a look. Last time I checked, I believe it was 2 wins out of the last 5 for Southampton. It is 2 wins out of the last 5 and a draw. So it's not really relegation form that they're in the last 5, but they are still bottom. It just goes to show how far adrift they were before this upturn of results. They did lose last weekend. And yeah, it goes without saying that they desperately need to win. Again, they're a starting 11 that I look at. There's a few young players in there. Lavia has been getting a lot of plaudits. A lot of people have been speaking about him potentially moving club. He has obviously just signed from Manchester City in the summer. Joe Shields bringing him in across. And a lot of people have been speaking about the 19-year-old as a potential suitor for other clubs in the summer. If they were to get relegated, there's a couple of players you might take out of that Southampton team. Maybe Carl Walker-Peters as well. So there's some talent in there, but they do need to put wins on the board. They're currently on 22 points, 2 points off escaping. But one win can change everything. And this is what I'm talking about with this league. It's so tight. I think the relegation battle is just as exciting, to be honest, as what's going on at the top of the league. You cannot predict. You can try, but I cannot predict who is going to go down at the moment. It's really, really interesting. Let's see what you guys are saying. A lot of people have been going for Brighton. Definitely seem to maybe be the favourites for that last spot in the Conference League, which is understandable. Probably playing the best football. Probably got maybe the best manager, and higher up than all the other teams as well. So yeah, understandable. Obviously, we have the Champions League draw coming up as well. So I'm looking forward to that as well. We're going to be covering that live on this very show. So yeah, the Champions League draw, that's where the nerves are going to come in. So yeah. Big opportunity for Southampton, but yeah, like I said, they need points badly against Tottenham. Now Tottenham are a strange club, and I have no Abbey to turn to. You know when Pep was looking to Arteta, and he was looking, and there's nobody there. This is how I feel. I have nobody to turn to for my Tottenham talk today. So I'll try and piece it together as best I can. Obviously, they won last week. Felt like a lot of Tottenham fans actually were kind of annoyed that they won just because they felt it was disrespectful to even turn up in a performance against N.Forest at home, one of the worst teams away from home this season. But the week that they had prior made it almost irrelevant. You know, losing to Sheffield United, losing to AC Milan in the Champions League, getting knocked out of 2 cup competitions in the space of a week. Expressions has gone on holiday. He's gone to Dubai. Do you know what I'm saying? Everybody's fleeing. Everybody's leaving. People aren't even watching the games anymore. It ain't easy in these streets. Do you know what I'm saying? So they've got this opportunity to get 2 wins in a row to try and cement some sort of top 4 situation for themselves. Conte, speaking on Harry Kane's future, I find it weird because we don't even think your future is sorted. So it's really weird at Tottenham. There's a weird vibe. But, you know, if Antonio Conte does get them into 4th, and secures top 4, then Champions League money and all these things. But I start to feel now Tottenham fans don't really care about that. There's definitely questions to be asked about when they get into the Champions League. Do they really actually kick on, rubber stamp? You know, do they take advantage of any Champions League qualification in terms of the transfer window? Do they go and purchase the players that warrant a Champions League season? Can they attract the players regardless? These are the questions we have to ask. Let's see what you're saying in the comments, because I sent some shots and I expect some good reactions in there. Yeah, it's all mad. Everybody in the comments. Yeah, you like that, yeah? Cool. So yeah, Tottenham in 4th, 48 points, 4 points clear of Newcastle. Like I said, 2 games played more. I think 4th is probably their ceiling. I don't think Tottenham are really going to kick on from there. Their performance are very inconsistent. 1 minute they're getting slapped up to Leicester. Next thing you know, they're beating Manchester City. You cannot predict what Tottenham will do at this point in time with their performances. You just don't know. And this is a tricky game because I've said it before. I don't think anybody wants to travel to anybody at the bottom of the table. We saw what happened last weekend with Bournemouth at home to Liverpool at that lunchtime kickoff. This is also, again, another fixture where Southampton will be putting it all on the line for this game. They need to win. A draw is not even enough anymore. When you're at the bottom of the table and you've been, you know, performing the way they've been performing, you need to just win any game you can. And I think they'll see Tottenham as an opportunity to do so. A team that's inconsistent, a team that you don't really know what you're going to get from 1 week to the next. And like I said, you just don't want to go to these teams. We've seen plenty of shocks before. I remember thinking back to the JJB Stadium, Wigan beating Manchester United 1-0, Sean Maloney. This is the type of stuff that happens at this back end of the season. Anything can happen. These type of results come. And if anything, they're to be expected because, like I said, these teams are fighting for their lives. You're better off maybe playing against teams in the middle of the table. So that's going to be an interesting game to watch, to see who prevails in that one. Let's move on to the next fixture. We have Aston Villa versus Bournemouth. Again, same situation. Bournemouth have showed a bit of fight in the last couple of weeks. They played Arsenal. Liverpool managed to take 3 points out of a possible 6. That's pretty damn good for a team in their position. And both of them very good performances. Even at the Emirates, they put up a great fight. They got a very early goal. I think it was the second quickest goal in Premier League history. Don't quote me on that, but I think it is. And then, of course, they go to play against Liverpool and they beat them 1-0. And again, this is impressive for a team like Bournemouth at the foot of the table in 18th to get these results. No one would have expected it. So they're definitely a team to be cautious of. And obviously Aston Villa playing at home. Aston Villa are one of those teams in 11th that, again, they're very up and down. Results, win, draw, loss. It doesn't seem to really matter too much. Emery, obviously, a very good coach. I think his main task over taking over from Steven Gerrard was to try to just solidify them, get them away from the relegation zone, which he's done. They're almost at 40 points. They're on 35 at the moment. And once he gets his own transfer window in the summer, pre-season, and he can really, stamp his authority on the team, make the changes he wants to make. They've obviously already kind of chosen to go with Watkins instead of Ings, moving away to West Ham as well. So we'll see. With Aston Villa next season, it'll be interesting to see what Emery can do with that team. They've spent a decent amount of money as well in recent years. They've definitely tried to bolster the squad with Lucas Digne, with Coutinho, with, Ings. So they're definitely not trying to stand still. Aston Villa, they're a big club. Seems like they've got ambition. So it'll be interesting to see because they've got a very good coach now, a lot of European pedigree. And I'm interested to see what they do next season. But I think this season is pretty much finished for them. I think they'll probably finish where they are, probably in 11th. And like I said, anything can happen with Aston Villa at the moment with their results because their season is pretty much almost over. We've also got Wolves versus Leeds as well. Again, Wolves are such a strange team because they were in the foot of it. They were in the mix of it, but they've put together some decent results. And I always feel to myself, Wolves they've got a good team. They've got only 1 win in their last 5, to be fair. 1 draw, 3 defeats. So still not out of it yet. But they've managed to put themselves in this position. They've got a very good midfield. You've Matheus Nunes, highly regarded, João Moutinho, and also Neves as well, who's always been linked with moves away. I think Wolves are a team for me that, They shouldn't really be down there if everybody's fit. We saw their result against Tottenham, Adama Traore, the forwards. Jimenez has never really looked the same since the injury. But they've got really good players. I don't know how highly people think Wolves can kind of move up this table in future seasons. But if they keep recruiting like they do from Portugal, we know they've got that massive link to Portuguese clubs. For me, Wolves, when they put out their strongest 11, they've got a pretty strong team. And I'm kind of always surprised to see them down there, mainly because of injuries that have been taking place as well. They'll be looking at this Leeds game, playing against a 19th place Leeds, who a lot of people are tipping to go down now since the change of management. The thing is with Leeds, again, is Rodrigo. Rodrigo up front was banging in the goals earlier on in the season. He was looking really, really good. He's then picked up the injury. They've gone with Bamford. Bamford's been susceptible to injuries for many years now. And he doesn't look sharp. He doesn't look like the guy that we saw at Middlesbrough, who was banging in the goals in the Championship all those seasons ago. He just looks a bit, even at Swansea, I think he had a decent campaign. He just seems to be struggling at the moment, and the sharpness is not there. And Leeds need goals. They need their striker to be getting goals. They've got good wingers, to be honest. Nononto, Somerville. They've got good players, Leeds. Rocco and Adams in the midfield. They've now brought in McKennie. Again, this is another team where I feel like there's some decent players in that Leeds team for them to try and get out of this mess. But I feel like I say that about everybody, and somebody's got to go down. So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for sure. In this poll that we're running as well for the Conference League place, I'm seeing Brighton are leading on 59%, Brentford on 22%, Fulham on 19%. So, pretty much how I expected it to go, actually, to be fair. A lot of people are thanking Sporting in the chat. People are saying Forza Milan in the chat as well. Oh, my goodness. I think the draw starts at 11. I'm not sure. I think it's 11. I'll double check for you guys, but I think it might be 11 or 11:15. I'm not sure. Let me know in the chat. You probably will be able to find out faster than me, to be honest. But yeah, the draw is obviously upcoming. So, yeah, Wolves versus Leeds. I expect Wolves to win that game, to be honest, at home as well, especially if they want to just get out of this mess. Yeah, 11 a.m. is when it is. Then yeah, I would expect Wolves to win this game. But Leeds, like I said, they've got some players to bring to the table. Then we go to Chelsea versus Everton as well. Chelsea versus Everton, my team. Listen, I can't get too ahead of myself, can I? We're still 10th. We're still on a goal difference of +1, and we still have a lot to prove. 2 wins on the bounce, but a lot to prove. 2 wins that you would probably expect us to collect. I mean, against Leicester and Leeds. So I'm not getting ahead of myself. We're into the Champions League quarterfinals. Of course, the draw is coming up very, very soon. So I'm excited for that. But this is a game that, again, we must win. We're playing against an Everton team that are 15th in the table under Sean Dyche. A Sean Dyche team that are kind of... Again, Sean Dyche has got the experience. That's what we're hanging our hat on. If you look at the most important person in that Everton squad, you're going to turn to Sean Dyche, somebody that's kept Burnley in the league and actually got them to, I think, a European place as well. You're looking at Sean Dyche as the key figure in that Everton squad, because I'm not joking when I say this. Out of all of the teams that I've gone through in terms of compliments, Everton's the one that I probably have the least compliments for in terms of their attack. I think Everton's attack is really, really poor. Borderline championship attack, I think. I think they're knocking on the door for championship with the attackers that they got. They got rid of Anthony Gordon, didn't replace him. He wasn't really even starting anyway before that move to Newcastle. Maybe he was unsettled. They've got Demarai Gray, who can ping it from 25 yards out, cutting in off the left if he wishes sometimes. And then it's Iwobi, and it's, I call him Moon Pie. Bruv, it's just not very impressive. I'm not going to lie. Calvert-Lewin not been prolific for years. Injury concerns galore. It's not a great attack from Everton. It's probably, and I'm going to say it, I think it might be the worst attack in the league. I'm going to say it. Does the statistics back me up on that? Oh, I think it might. They've only scored 20 goals this season, and I think that's level with Wolves. But Wolves have had a lot of injuries up top because of, obviously, Guedes as well has been out. And obviously Jimenez, Pedro Neto has been out as well. Let's see, who else has got 20 goals? Southampton as well. So, yeah, I don't think I'm too far off saying that. I don't think I've been harsh. Everton, for me, having the worst attack in the league. Let's see what you guys think. One of our goals your goals come from your defenders for sure. Tchaikovsky, Cody, Michael Keane. That's definitely your strength, set pieces. And Onana. You've got a lot of tall players. You've got a lot of physical players that can cause problems in the box. We saw it against Arsenal, didn't we, in that 1-0 win at Goodison Park in Sean Dyche's first game. When you guys get the ball into the box, and maybe play in that, maybe Tony Pulis style a little bit. Someone that can even throw the ball like Rory Delap would be helpful. Because when you guys put the ball in the box, it's chaos. And that's where I think I agree. I think your goals definitely could come from those situations. I don't really see goals coming from the forward line too much. I actually personally, I've said it before, I feel like Iwobi is better in the midfield than he is in the wing position as well. I don't know how Everton fans feel about that. I just feel like, you're trying to go obviously in that 4-1-4-1, or sometimes maybe you might be bold and go a 4-4-2. We saw against Arsenal, you basically lumped it up to Calvert-Lewin and played from there. McNeil's come back in. It's not very inspiring, but it might get the job done. Sean Dyche, you'd be backing him to get it done, but it's definitely not pleasing on the eye for sure. But I'm sure you guys won't mind too much about that. But what I will say for this fixture for Chelsea is that Everton are going to set up very deep. They're going to be very compact. They're going to be maybe a 4-5-1, maybe similar to what they did at the Emirates. And they kind of need to take a little bit of, they need to take a bit of advice from what Arsenal did in that game at the Emirates, where they got the goal fairly early in the first half, and then they put them to the sword after that, and they were able to open them up quite easily. But if Chelsea struggle to break down Everton's, the defensive V shape that we've all seen the clip from Sean Dyche, then it could be a long day. I expect Chelsea to win. I expect Chelsea to win this game. However, they need to actually get the goal early on, because Everton could be very frustrating. They could dig in there. It's exactly what Chelsea don't like, is low blocks. And yeah, I think they definitely need to get the goal as early as possible, because it could be a frustrating day otherwise. So Chelsea versus Everton, like I said, Chelsea, they're into the quarterfinals. We'll see who they get in the draw, but it's definitely calma, because there's a long way to go in the season, and it's not been a great season so far. There's a lot of points that need to be put on the board for them. Now, of course, Manchester City are playing Burnley, I believe, in the FA Cup. So we'll talk about the FA Cup in a minute, and obviously Manchester United as well, FA Cup. But Arsenal play against Crystal Palace at 2 o'clock on Sunday. Now, big game for Arsenal. Big game for Arsenal. Obviously, what happened last night was not according to plan, you could say. And it kind of went wrong in every single sense that it could. Because Not only did they lose the game, but they had to bring on key players, and they went all the way to penalties. Played the extra time, lost all of that energy from all of those key players' systems. They picked up 2 injuries as well to Tomiyasu and to Saliba. Not a good day out for Arsenal at all at the Emirates. And it was funny watching that game because I don't believe that Sporting were at their very best. I think in the final third, they lacked the final pass. There was only 2 shots on target for Ramsdale to deal with. 1 big chance created, which was that Edwards 1v1 where Ramsdale made that magnificent save. So Sporting definitely played well. They played it around nicely. I'd say they deserved it in the end because they're not the favourite to win that game. So they clearly put out a strong enough performance over the 2 legs. Of course, 2-2 in the first. But I feel like the game was there for Arsenal, but they just wouldn't go to that 3rd and 4th gear. They wouldn't kick on. And especially after bringing in the players that they brought on off the bench, you'd expect Arsenal to close that tie in extra time and go on to win it. They ended up losing on penalties 5-3. Martinelli obviously missed a decisive kick. And Arsenal fans, I think they're pretty split. I think some of them are saying that, listen, we don't need that competition. We have the Premier League. It's all eyes on that. We get to focus. I understand where you're coming from. I actually agree with you somewhat that it is now easier for you to just play 1 game a week and focus on that and not have to travel on Thursdays. However, don't go anywhere. If you do not win that Premier League, if you do not close that Premier League, you won't need to get it from me. You won't need to get it from Expressions. You don't need to get it from Abby. You're going to feel it in your heart, your soul, and your chest. You're going to know that this season should have been so much better than it ended up being. When you play this well, as Arsenal have played for the whole season, you put in these brilliant performances, you want to leave with something. You want to take a trophy home. And if you don't take a trophy home, the season will be forgotten. I can kid you not. 2nd place, you don't get anything for it. So out of both domestic cups, now nothing in Europe, you will need to close that Premier League to have something to show for all of your hard work, for all of your brilliant football. So there's a lot of pressure on Arsenal to win now, and it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with that. They've been brilliant in the Premier League. They've been on a great run. I think it's 5 wins in a row. Clean sheet against Fulham. Brilliant performance. I watched it at Craven Cottage. Unbelievable performance against Fulham. Just absolutely took them to the cleaners. Trossard, 3 assists. Brilliant. But there's a lot of pressure on you now. You have to win the Premier League, whether you like it or not. Whether you want to be favourites or you want to be underdogs, whether you want to have the pressure, you don't. Unfortunately, you've put yourself in a position where you absolutely have to win it for your own sake. And obviously, Crystal Palace, this could be a bad time to play them. Patrick Vieira has not won a game since the turn of the year, but he has been sacked. This morning, Patrick Vieira was sacked from Crystal Palace. So now, I don't know if it's no manager bounce or it's new manager bounce, but there's going to be some sort of bounce. I don't know what type, but there's a bounce coming. And yeah, Palace have caused problems already for big teams before. They drew against Liverpool 0-0. They've had a good first half against Tottenham before they got destroyed at Selhurst. They've got good players in Elise and Eze and Zaha. There's something there to build on. I think Patrick Vieira, it's a shame to see him obviously, lose his job there. He had a great season last year, brought in all of these new young players, replaced the Scott Dans, replaced the Gary Cahills, replaced all of these aging players that were leaving on frees and rejuvenated that squad with Eze and Elise and all of these new Mark Gurhey and Anderson. But to not win a game since the turn of the year is really poor. And of course, they are in a relegation scrap as well. They shouldn't be, in my opinion. I think they should have been closer to Aston Villa and kind of more comfortable in the table. But they're on 27 points and they're only 3 points above the relegation zone in 12th. That's how tight it is. 12th all the way down to 18th in Bournemouth is 3 points. So 1 win can flip everything, obviously depending on goal difference. So yeah, they must pick up something if they can. And Arsenal, of course, goes without saying, being 5 points clear of Manchester City. They could go 8 points as Manchester City play in the FA Cup. So really big opportunity for both teams to stamp their authority in different ways. Manchester City play Burnley in the FA Cup. So like I said, an opportunity for Arsenal to go 8 points clear at the top. And Manchester City at home to Burnley. Burnley are high flying in the Championship, having a brilliant season under Vincent Kompany. It's actually a great story because Vincent Kompany will now be coming back to the Etihad to manage Burnley up against his former team, the team that he used to captain, the team that he's won multiple Premier League titles with, to come and try and play the beautiful game, play good football. I'll be interested to see how Vincent Kompany sets up against Manchester City away from home. It will maybe show us a glimpse of how he potentially will set up in the Premier League when he comes up, because it looks like they're going to get promoted. Will he keep trying to play the right way, or will he sit deep? We'll have to see. I'm sure Manchester City will make changes. Sheffield United play against Blackburn. Champions League draw is about to start. I'll go through that in a minute. Sheffield United will play Blackburn in the FA Cup as well. Obviously, Sheffield United, after knocking out Tottenham, this would have been Tottenham against Blackburn. Really got opportunity, gone to waste for them. Brighton against Grimsby. Grimsby Town beat Southampton. Really big result there. But Brighton will be looking to get themselves to a semi-final of an FA Cup. Massive opportunity for Brighton. I'm sure they'll take it very seriously. And Manchester United against Fulham. Ten Hag is taking all the cup competitions very seriously. We saw it against Real Betis after smashing them. I think it was 5-1 on aggregate. And obviously winning the Carabao Cup as well. So, yeah, really, really good opportunities for everybody in those draws. We could have Sheffield United or Blackburn at Wembley. It's all set up to be great, and potentially a Manchester derby as well. So yeah, we're going to move on now to the Champions League draw. It's first time since 2006 that 3 Italian clubs are in the quarterfinals. We know that Serie A and Italian football has kind of been falling away in the last decade or so, decade and a half, but now they're on the comeback. The 2 Milan teams are in the quarterfinals, and so are Napoli. Napoli running away at the top of Serie A with Victor Osimhen, top goal scorer, scoring again, I believe, against Frankfurt. And yeah, the 2 Milan clubs, if they get each other, it will be an insane tie at San Siro. If they don't get each other, I think they're 2 of the favourites to potentially come out of this competition at this stage. I've looked at AC Milan. We saw them in the group stage. Chelsea, I saw them against Tottenham over 2 legs. I don't think AC Milan were that great. I definitely think this is probably as far as they can get based on their performances. And Inter Milan, very similar. Against Porto, they scraped through. But when you look at these 2 starting 11s, there's not a lot. There's Rafael Leao. There's Lisandro Martinez. There's Lautaro Martinez. There's a couple of players here and there, but it's not on the same level as your Bayern Munichs and your Manchester Cities and your Real Madrid. So if they were to get any of those guys, I think they'll be going home, to be honest. Let me know in the chat, who do people want in the quarterfinals of the Champions League if your team is in it, particularly Manchester City and Chelsea fans. Obviously, if we've got any European fans in the chat of Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, let us know in the chat, who do you want in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So they're just going through the draw now. Hopefully they're not going to do too much explaining and just get on with it. Do you know what I'm saying? I think they've started to make these a bit shorter. They used to have the Champions League draw going on for way too long. It used to be like half an hour, 45 minutes of build-up, it felt like. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but it felt like that long anyway. But I think they've tried to condense it and bring it a little bit more to something normal, and just kind of get on with it a little bit. They'll be drawing the quarterfinal first, and then I believe the semi-final as well they're doing. So you'll have the whole path to the final done tonight. So, and then obviously we have the Europa League draw and the Conference League as well afterwards. But I think I'm just doing the Champions League. Because I ain't in the Europa League, do you know what I'm saying? I'm not in the Europa League. Some of you guys in the chat ain't either. You know who I'm digging at. Obviously, who would I want? That's the question I know I'm going to get. I would prefer to have Ace. I'm shameless. We've won it twice. I don't need to prove anything. I don't want to have to prove, we have to beat the biggest, the baddest, the best. I'm not interested in any of that. I'm very shameless. Our team is not playing very well this season. We're very unpredictable. Our manager is in the Champions League for the first time as well. I definitely would prefer Inter Milan, AC Milan, or even Benfica. Those would be the 3 teams I would want. Napoli and Real Madrid are then in the second tier of teams that are obviously really difficult, but I think we could potentially knock them out. It'd be 50-50. Maybe you'd even say that, you'd probably say the other 2 are favourites, slight favourites, but I would actually have some hope, but I don't want them. And then obviously we have Bayern Munich and Manchester City. I definitely don't want them. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. So the draw, we're still waiting on. 50-50, no way. Okay, 60-40. 60-40. 60-40. Willing to agree on 60-40. You know what it is, yeah? Is that, to be fair, Chelsea's Champions League record against Real Madrid is actually pretty good. I know we went out to them last year. The year before, we knocked them out to win the Champions League. Knocked them out in the semi-finals. But we've only lost to them one time in European competition in our history. We beat them in the Super Cup in the 90s, I believe. We've beaten them in the Champions League when we played them there under Tuchel. So we've only lost to them once, and that was at Stamford Bridge. Mendy, I think, made a mistake. So we actually have a good record against Madrid. But obviously, Madrid is Madrid. It would be a daunting task for Graham Potter, but it would be a fun game. Definitely be a fun game. We saw them against Man City as well last year. A lot of goals. And Napoli, it goes without saying, they're everybody's dark horse, of course, because, yeah, I mean, Napoli have literally, they've destroyed Serie A this season, absolutely destroyed Serie A. They've managed to find themselves in a situation where they're, how many points clear? I think it was something like, last time I checked, it was 15. It fluctuates between 15 and 18, and yeah, just insane. Let's take a look. Napoli are currently top and 18 points clear. Wow. Yeah. Inter Milan lost their last Serie A game. Lazio drew. AC Milan drew. So the teams behind them are in very indifferent form. So Napoli are 18 points clear. And that's considering they lost, I think, to Lazio recently as well, at home. But crazy. Absolutely crazy. Unbelievable. So let's see when this draw is going to take place. Obviously, this week's Champions League games I've watched as well. Manchester City against Leipzig. It was embarrassing. Very, very, very comprehensive win. Easy win for Manchester City. And to be honest, they didn't even play they didn't even come out of second gear. They could have easily got more goals. They took off Haaland early. Pep decided to start resting him. Could have maybe broke a Champions League record and got 6 goals, I think, in one game. Messi had 5 against Bayer Leverkusen. That's what Haaland ended up finishing the game with. So he could have broke a record. Gundogan got the other goal, but just too easy, too comprehensive. But this is exactly what I expect, really, from Leipzig. We saw it against Liverpool as well a few years ago. It's just, Leipzig just don't defend. They don't know how to defend. And obviously, I didn't actually get to watch Real Madrid versus Liverpool. Real Madrid beat Liverpool 1-0. I don't know how that game really went because I was away that day, but I mean that tie was already over from the first leg, wasn't it? So we already knew what it was gonna be. Let's see what you guys are saying. The draw is starting now. Yeah, it's starting now. So maybe just 15 minutes of build up, which is good. So yeah, they're just having their little presentation, talking, and hopefully we're gonna see some names come out of the bowls in just a few moments. So just to remind you who is in the quarterfinals, if you need reminding, we have Benfica, who defeated Club Brugge emphatically in the last round. We have Inter Milan, who got through against Porto. We also have AC Milan as well, who beat Tottenham. We have Napoli, who beat Frankfurt. Chelsea, who knocked out Dortmund. Real Madrid, who knocked out Liverpool. Bayern Munich, who knocked out PSG. And Manchester City, who knocked out Leipzig. So those are your teams left in the Champions League. Yeah, 18 points clear after 26 games is ridiculous. I don't know if I've seen a lead that big. Maybe in SPL, Celtic, maybe over the last couple of years. Before Gerrard won it, I'd say they won 9 titles in a row, I think, Celtic in the Scottish League. So maybe they had a lead like that at one point, probably did. Especially when Rangers were relegated, I think, to the 3rd division of Scottish football at one point. That's kind of why they're in this position, Rangers, in the first place. They got relegated to many divisions below, but they came up quite quickly. The first name is going to be drawn here. But yeah, 18 points clear is crazy. Can you imagine if someone was 18 points clear in the Premier League? And the first team has been drawn. There we go. Here we go. Who's this going to be now? This is going to be interesting. Real Madrid. This is going to be interesting. Real Madrid versus Chelsea. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Wow. Oh, God. It could have been worse, but it definitely could have been much, much better. Oy vey. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game. Real Madrid versus Chelsea in the first. Wow. Well, you know what? I don't even know what to say. That's just great, isn't it? That's just crazy. Inter Milan versus Benfica. That's astonishing. So that means whoever wins out of Chelsea and Real Madrid will play Inter Milan or Benfica. Do I have that right? I think that's the first side of the draw, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe they haven't done that yet. But yeah. I say it could have been worse, but probably not. I mean, they are literally the team that have won the Champions League the most times. The semi-final draw is next. Okay, so the semi-final draw is next. So Real Madrid versus Chelsea, Inter Milan versus Benfica. They'll do the other two, and then they'll do the semi-final after. So I pray that whoever wins Chelsea versus Real Madrid will get Inter Milan or Benfica. Production. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Well, Chelsea versus Real Madrid is going to be a great game. Man City versus Bayern Munich. Ooh, that is crazy. Manchester City versus Bayern Munich. That's a tough one. Which means it will be AC Milan versus Napoli. Wow, they have put the big hitters against each other in this tie. So you are going to have one of Napoli or AC Milan and one of Benfica or Inter Milan in the semi-finals of the Champions League. You're going to have 2 out of those 4. You're going to have definitely an Italian club. You might even have 2 Italian clubs. Wow. That's a great draw. Because, to be honest, I'm going to... If the semi-final goes like this, if it becomes Chelsea versus Real Madrid, we'll play the winner of Bayern Munich versus Manchester City, then this draw is insane. This draw is insane. Because that means you will have an Italian club in the final, or you will have Benfica. This is going to be insane. Let's see. Let's see. Wow, this could go very left. This could, if Napoli could win this, if this goes, this could be insane, guys. This could be insane. Damn, this draw could go very left for those big teams on that side. And I say big teams, they're all big teams, but the favourites. Let's see what everybody's saying in the chat. Big up everybody in the chat. Everybody's saying, please give us that. More you can't believe. More you can't believe, guys. More you can't believe. More you can't believe. More you can't believe. More you can't believe, guys. Oh my goodness. Has it happened? Oh God. Please tell me it didn't just go the way I've described. Please tell me it didn't just go the way I... Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh! Damn! 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 my God. Oh my God. What kind of draw is this? What in the heavens have I just witnessed? My eyes. My eyes. It actually doesn't get worse than that. It actually does not get worse than what I've just saw. Bayern Munich or Manchester City will play Real Madrid or Chelsea in the semi-finals, which means Napoli or AC Milan will play Inter Milan or Benfica. Oh, God. Quarterfinals. Real Madrid versus Chelsea will play Manchester City or Bayern Munich in the semi-finals. Oh my goodness. Benfica will definitely feel they can get to the semi-finals. They come up against Inter Milan, and Napoli will definitely feel they can get to the semi-finals. They come up against AC Milan. Wow, 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 wow. Cancelo is going back to Manchester City in that draw. We are in big trouble. More I can't believe. Big trouble. Yeah, it's a long day. It's a long day, guys. Tough times never last. Tough people do. Wow, okay. What a draw that was. Doesn't get much more entertaining than that, I must say. It's going to be a tough one. We're going to... Oh, my goodness. I've been given the contact for Raul. Oh, God. Will I give Raul a call to end this stream? Let's see. He doesn't have my number, so... Oh, God. Oh, dearie me. Raul, my friend.
Hello?
It's Matisse, Raul. We're live from DR Sports. Did you see the Champions League draw?
Of course, I see. Of course.
It's going to be a long day, brother.
I am watching to you. You look sad, furious. Why? No, if you want to win, you need to win. All the best.
Are you happy with the draw, considering who we play in the semi-finals?
Well, happy, Matisse. Let's be honest. No. But, well, it's better than any other. Well, the classic team in the same draw.
Yeah.
Bro, it's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be crazy. Well, bro, I will.
Are you happy?
No, I'm not happy at all. I'm devastated. I am devastated.
Why not?
Because I mean, this is all I have left, Raul. This is the only competition I have left. I'm 10th in the Premier League. I need this, and I know what you guys are like with your football heritage nonsense.
Yeah, but did you remember Liverpool fan revenge? So
yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Chelsea, Real Madrid, 3 years in a row.
Yeah,
so
3 years in a row. We beat you once, you beat us. Oh. And then what do we get as a reward for fighting against each other? We then get Bayern Munich or Man City. Oh my goodness. Fun.
Yeah. I think that I don't know. It's gonna be crazy.
Crazy. Well, brother, I will let you go. And good luck.
Lucky, the second
leg is at Chelsea. Yeah, to be honest, I don't think it makes a difference. If you've been seeing us this season, we're 10th. It doesn't make a difference, brother.
No, Matisse, don't start to play. Matisse. Second leg in your stadium. Crazy.
I'm not even bothered where it is. I'm not gonna lie. But I'll let you go, bro. See you later. Big up, man. I appreciate it. Big up. Well. This is going to be fun. Well, guys, that's it. I mean, we've rounded up all of the Premier League fixtures this weekend. We've rounded up I can't even think straight, the FA Cup fixtures. And, of course, the Champions League draw has concluded. Turkish is in the chat. Don't know why. After what happened last night, surely you should be preparing for the big six, my friend. But yeah. Well, I hope you guys smash up the likes. I hope you guys have subscribed, and I will see you guys next time. Long day, long day, long day. In a bit, people. Peace.